So good morning everyone and welcome to our second webinar of the Developing the Workforce webinar series for the Scottish Local Government Digital Partnership. I'm Siobhan Martin from the Digital Office, and today we are joined by Fiona McFarlane from the Digital North Lanarkshire programme and Sue Holland-Smith and Niall Reid from Dundee City Council. Today we'll be exploring the use of digital champions and transformers to support digital transformation within Scottish local government. The presentations today will last approximately 40 minutes and will be followed up by a Q&A session. So we would encourage you throughout to use the chat box function to ask any questions that you have throughout the presentation, which will be picked up during the Q&A session. Or you can wait until the end and take your opportunity there to ask anything to our presenters. Today's webinar will be recorded and published on our YouTube channel and Knowledge Hub, so it can be accessed at a later date. So just to make everyone aware of that. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over firstly to Fiona McFarlane from the Digital North Lanarkshire programme at North Lanarkshire Council.
Good morning everyone. My name is Fiona McFarlane and I'm the Communications and Engagement Lead for DigitalNL at North Lanarkshire Council. This morning I'm going to talk you through some slides to give a bit of background about the digitisation programme and the work we're doing, with particular focus on the recent recruitment of our digital transformers. So a quick background, North Lanarkshire Council is the fourth largest local authority in Scotland. We serve just under 340,000 residents and employ over 14,000 people. 75% of our employees also live in North Lanarkshire. As it stands just now, we are very much at the beginning of our digital journey. Like everywhere, there's a recognised need to meet modern needs and demands through moving to a digital delivery model, and our DigitalNL team was formed in the summer of 2017 to get this process of change underway. For this, we're working alongside PwC as our business partner, and they've been involved in the creation of the initial outline business case for DigitalNL and the subsequent full business case, which is ready to go to the Transformation Subcommittee next month. If approved, we're looking at DigitalNL being a 5-year programme. So what do we want to achieve? Ultimately, we want to make digital the channel of choice, delivering faster, easier to access services that make us more efficient and drive cost savings. We also want to give our staff access to joined up systems to allow better collaboration and offer more flexible ways of working. From a visionary perspective, this all sounds fantastic, but we also need to make sure that we're taking people with us and not paving the way for exclusion and isolation. One of the stats that we're all probably aware of is that 21% of adults in Scotland do not have basic digital skills. In 2019, that's just not good enough, and why we'll be doing all that we can to ensure people have the skills and confidence to get online and make the most of the opportunities that will be available. So that's where our digital transformers come in. So their role is to help bridge this gap and be the friendly, familiar face to go to for information, advice and skills training. At the moment, the focus is internally, but this will broaden as we progress with the programme. We launched our campaign to recruit our transformers last November, and it's all starting to come together. And the next few slides will share more about the role and how we went about getting people on board. So the role and what we were looking for, this extended support for our team was actually always part of our communication strategy from the very, very beginning. And we did have a very fairly defined idea of what the role would be and the responsibilities that would be attached to it. This here, what you're seeing just now, is actually the kind of advert that went out. So along with being positive advocates for the programme, we were looking for people who were approachable, reliable, had good IT experience and had a real passion for using digital technology, and of course a willingness to coach and support their colleagues to learn the skills too. A bit more though for us, the role is very much about building links within our services and gaining additional support to drive business change, engagement and communication efforts. From a responsibility perspective, this slide here gives an overview of the main scope, which is pretty much what you would expect to see. So from leading local change initiatives, running training sessions, and really being the kind of go-between for our team. However, the role is also wider than that. So within their area, the digital transformer will be responsible for building a sense of ownership and helping people feel that the changes are happening with them through ongoing involvement and not just to them. And again, that's all about this kind of engagement aspect to what's going to be happening. In terms of benefits to being part of our team, DigitalNL very, very much has the support from the top. It's set to be the biggest transformation that the council's ever been through, so it's a great opportunity to be involved in something like this from the very, very beginning. For our transformers, we're offering bespoke training and development to help them develop their own skills and gain experiences potentially not available in their day jobs that will help hopefully their future career paths and things they want to move into. We'll also be providing digital devices to support their work and access to things like online collaborations areas, which I'll speak about in a wee minute. In terms of the recruitment process, the document, a couple of slides that you've just been looking at, they were circulated internally through things like staff emails, the intranet, newsletters and team briefs, through myself, which is quite a commonly used site for checking your pay slips and for booking annual leave, and through local team meetings and local managers. Once it was out, there was pretty much interest almost instantly. I was completely taken aback, but also delighted that so many people were getting in touch and wanted to be involved. From here, we asked people to complete a short application process, providing background information about their skills, their experience, and also to let their line managers know so that they were all kept in the loop too. From there, we held informal face-to-face and telephone conversations to basically ensure potential transformers were aware of the role and they were a good fit in terms of what we needed to. And after this, in the end, we have welcomed 35 people into our digital transformer network. This here, just a few of the statements that actually came in about why people were interested in the role, they really did mirror what we were looking to offer in terms of professional development and really gain in terms of this wider network of support. I won't read through them all, but that was definitely the main themes. So in terms of achievements, what we have achieved so far through the development of our communication strategy and focus on internal communications, we've made good ground in terms of really raising awareness about DigitalNL and generating positivity and enthusiasm for what's planned. We created a short video featuring staff to share the vision, which was really well received. Some of you may have seen it already, but the link is here on this slide if you want to have a look at it later on. I think that a lot of this work really helped to make the recruitment of our transformers pretty straightforward, as there seems to be a real desire and appetite to be involved, which is great. Once we had our transformers in place, we held a welcome event to get everyone together, talk a bit more in depth about DigitalNL and the role that they will play. We were very fortunate that Jackie came along from the digital office and she explained more about the work going on there and the sector-wide support that's available. Sue and Neil from Dundee Council also came down to talk about the fantastic work that they're doing and the progress being made through the use of their own champion network. You'll hear more about that in a wee minute. I've also nicked some of their ideas and comms templates, so thanks very much for that too. Other achievements include the introduction and use of Yammer as an online platform. It's proven popular and we've got a private page set up which is helping all of our transformers keep in touch. The last thing that I'll mention here is the SCVO Essential Digital Skills Survey. I think you'll all be aware of this. We ran the survey in December with support from our Transformer network and managed to achieve a 12% response rate, which we're delighted with. Although we didn't use paper surveys, our transformers helped reach front-end staff by getting out in depots and visiting sites where online access is limited. They took their tablets and their laptops out with them and basically tried to encourage people to take part, and it did seem to work. We're in the final analysis phase of the results just now, and again we'll be using our transformers to help share the findings. So what's next in the plan going forward? Just now the main bit of work is the survey and reporting the results. Our transformers have been part of this from the start and will definitely be involved in the creation and delivery of the training workshops that we set up to tackle the issues raised. Talking about training, next Thursday we'll be getting all of our transformers together again for a Train the Trainer event. We're holding it in Motherwell Library, and it's really about giving our team some coaching techniques when it comes to helping others. It's one thing being able to do something yourself, but it takes really a different skill set to teach others. After all this is done, we'll be starting to do wider communications about who our transformers are and how people can get in touch with them. I'm also open to them getting involved in communications, whether it's starting up new blogs or getting involved in some of the videos we're looking to release. A lot of what we'll be doing as well will be leading up to our Digital Skills Week, which is happening in May. The plan is to get our transformers involved in developing the activities and content that will work in their bit of the business and make sure everyone gets the most out of this time. The focus this year is on shaping the future, which really couldn't be more perfect for a digital team. I hope this has given you all some insight to what we're doing. After Niall and Sue have done their presentation, there will be some time for some questions. So thanks very much for listening.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sue. I'm a Learning and Organisational Development Advisor with Dundee City Council. Niall and I are going to give you a bit of an overview of our Digital Champions journey over the past 18 months or so. This slide actually shows a few of our lovely champions on our Digital Skills Week, and we'll tell you more about that later. Okay, first of all, how it all began. As I said, we're part of the Learning and Organisational Development Service, and in spring 2017 we were asked to really get on with the digital upskilling of the workforce. This was based on our digital strategy, where the Digital Champions concept was introduced. At that stage, we didn't know what our model was going to look like, and it's been kind of evolving ever since then. And what we do is we report on our progress quarterly to our Digital Oversight Board. We started with a survey around office tools and social media, and that was back in spring of 2017. There was a fairly low number of responses to this initial survey, but the most encouraging aspect was that we recruited some digital champions from that. And we've just continued recruiting champions throughout the past year and a half. And actually today we have approximately 62 on our books, as it were. We wanted to bring our new champions together to start exploring their role. As I say, we didn't actually know what it was going to look like at the beginning. We came up with the idea of having gatherings. And these have been fun, informal development sessions, getting to know each other, sharing ideas and progress. We worked with our champions over a couple of gatherings, developing ideas about the role of champions and how they would be visible to others in the council. And we used a service design approach to organically grow the role of the champion, involving the champions themselves at every stage of the development. And in fact, our Digital Skills Week was also developed during a Digital Champions gathering. What you're going to see now is our role descriptor. So this was created by our champions. So this is a kind of a fun visual that accompanies a more detailed role description. So see, we worked on this in a gathering, coming up with the kind of the sort of the type of person that we were looking for and the type of skills that we needed them to have and the type of activities they could get involved with. So this has been useful for the ongoing recruitment of champions. So when people are interested in the role, we'll send this to them to give them an idea of the skills and personal qualities we're looking for. And then we'll often meet them on a one-to-one basis to discuss that. And we actually do quite a lot of arm twisting as well when we meet people who've got obvious digital skills that we want to get on board. One of the first things we did when we got our champions together was to ask each of them to make a pledge. So you can see them here holding up their pledges, some of them anyway, at our first gathering, asking for commitments based on their interests and expertise. So these photographs then went on our intranet with a wee blurb letting people know about the champions. As the months went on, we sort of developed other things in terms of visibility, and these are what we've called bios. Essentially, they're champion profiles that have been developed by each champion over the past few months. We decided to use the Bitmojis. We thought that was quite a fun digital way to, and we had a lot of fun actually creating our own Bitmojis. Some more honest than others, so think about how they look. We'll soon have a new go-to place on our intranet for all our staff learning and development needs, called My Learning Hub, and that's actually where we'll put our champion profiles and contact details. And in terms of visibility, over time there'll be a better spread of champions across our team, so people will get to know who their local champion is. But all these things are still a work in progress. I just want to mention as well that we have good links with our education colleagues who sit slightly separately in terms of the whole kind of IT picture. For example, they're already all on Office 365 and the rest of us aren't. Anyway, they have their own digital leaders network that is linked into our champions network, and so some of their digital leaders have also become named champions within our network. So you can see Judy here on screen. In fact, she's an early years practitioner in one of the school nurseries. So some of our champions have been involved in the delivery of our face-to-face digital skills sessions programme. So that was based on the results of our first survey, where we asked quite practical things about the type of things that people felt they needed to know more about in the workplace. So we've delivered sessions on things like Twitter, iNotes, which is our emails and calendar system, OneNote, Snapchat we've done sessions on Excel, mobile photography, design and doing effective presentations. This is now a rolling programme, and people can book themselves onto a session via our corporate learning and development database. It's been important for us to find out what our champions' individual skills, interests and strengths are, so that they can deliver what they are actually knowledgeable and passionate about. For example, Mark was one of our graduates with a visual communications background. You can see him here, and he delivered several sessions on creating engaging digital content. And Lisa, in the bottom corner of the screen here, she's a passionate user of OneNote for both work and home organisation, and was keen to pass on this enthusiasm to others, and that's just been great. We've also just delivered some bespoke sessions on request to teams, so people have asked for specifics. One of the ones that, for example, Niall here has delivered is on share file to one of our teams. Our champions are drawn from a range of services across the council, and not everyone can attend our champions gatherings, so we mainly communicate on Yammer. And this has, as Fiona was saying as well, this has proved to be an effective and a more informal way of communicating. And champions also like to post things on here that they think will be of interest to each other. The only downside we found of this is that you need to have a gov.uk email address to join this network, meaning that some of our champions have not been able to join because they don't all have corporate email accounts. So at the moment we're communicating with those champions by email, but we're hoping that this might be resolved once we all move to Office 365. Okay, so that's been the first part of our journey, and I'm now going to pass you over to Niall to tell you about the rest of our journey in a bit more detail.
Okay, thanks, Sue. Firstly, I just want to talk about a separate strand of our champions model, which we've developed with neighbourhood services and social care and health staff who do not have council logins or regular access to PCs. So between these departments, there are around 1,200 members of staff who do not have a corporate login or regular access to a digital device within the workplace. So when we're looking at developing the digital skills in the workplace, this is a key group of staff that we need to communicate with better and not forget they're out there. This has happened in the past. So to engage as part of the workforce, we've worked with our HR and payroll colleagues to work towards the goal of having no paper pay slips in Dundee City Council, because staff can access an electronic pay slip from any internet-enabled device if they're registered on the payroll system. So initially, we got some names of staff who identified as digitally savvy, and myself and Sue, as you see myself in one of these pictures here, we ran a series of sessions showing them how to access the payroll system on their own smartphones. And it was at these sessions when we also took the opportunity to speak about the work going on with digital skills and digital champions, and it was really well received with employees appreciating being able to access their pay slips quicker. And as a result, those attending sessions became informal digital champions, as we're calling them. And this means kind of showing their colleagues how to register for an online payslip and being on hand to help with queries. Being an informal champion, they're not getting involved in some of the other corporate initiatives just now, but we have plans to tap into this group of champions to help with communication around digital work directly affecting them, such as electronic annual leave, and our corporate intranet is about to be launched externally. So there will be a group of staff that we can get to communicate with this to colleagues and show them how to access it. But we're more than happy also, if anyone from this area wants to become one of our corporate champions and get involved in other things. So we've always been clear that we needed to know more about the basic digital skills level of the whole workforce, primarily to identify gaps and learning needs. So in September last year, we became the first local authority in Scotland to use the SVO Essential Digital Skills Toolkit to survey our entire workforce. And to date, this has been the biggest task that our digital champions have been involved in. And in the run-up to the survey, we worked with champions within the gatherings that Sue mentioned at the start, and also in Yammer, can they look at the best way to launch the survey. You want to create a bit of a buzz, and most importantly, get as much engagement with as much of our workforce as possible, because it showed from our first survey that clearly never happened. So with the champions, we came up with the idea of having a digital skills week, which, as well as launching the survey, we would run some champion-led digital skills sessions and launch some of our online learning resources, such as Barclay's Digital Wings. And within these sessions, our champions also came up with the idea of trying to take the survey out, out to staff who do not have regular access to PCs. So we've managed to get our hands on 12 tablets. We loaded the survey onto them, and we created a list of locations that we wanted to visit, such as environment depots, care homes, community centres, and sheltered housing complexes. And some of our champions also visited main offices to try and encourage staff to complete the survey. And as you can see from the slide in front of you, some even managed to stop workers on the street, which was great to see. And we worked with our comms team in the run-up to the week, around branding and publicity. And you can also see in this slide another champions' ideas, which was getting some branded T-shirts to wear while we were out and about, which was great fun. And we're also looking at the idea of getting all digital champions a lanyard that they'll wear with their ID badge on. We kind of feel it would be good to give a digital champion a bit of an identity within the workplace. And you can also see from this slide how we use Twitter during the week to highlight the survey and skills sessions, and getting champions to tweet, with certain hashtags that allowed us to promote everything much more widely and collect images and videos throughout the week that champions were posting. And it was just great for me and Sue to see some of our digital champions out and about in the community with staff and just having a bit of fun at the same time. So after all the work our champions done, we're reaching as many staff as possible. We're also communicating the survey out to staff by email, intranet. We've got a great response, and more than 1,000 responses, which is about 15% of our workforce. It means we'll have some really credible data to work with. And perhaps the most exciting part for myself and Sue is that within the survey, we asked at the end if you'd be interested in becoming a digital champion. And as we gave some information about the champions so far, so you can provide a link to that. And as a result, we've managed to recruit a further 34 champions, which is the number Sue gave you, that includes those 34, which we're really pleased about. We'll be meeting them next week for the first time of our first gathering of 2019. So where do we go from here? Well, the results of our survey have shown that 66% of our workforce have all the essential digital skills as outlined in the SCBO framework. We think this is quite an encouraging number, but we need to drill down, identify the gaps and the learning needs, and we'll then use a range of methods. Some we've talked about before, including face-to-face digital skills sessions led by champions, signposts into a lot of the online learning resources that ourselves and other champions have identified, such as Digital Wings that I mentioned in 23 Things, as well as informal coaching by champions is something we want to look into. And we're also hoping our next gathering, we'll discuss the results of the survey and our champions, existing and new ones who may come up with some innovative ideas, and also finding out about all their skills and the offers that they can maybe help us with. There's also been initial discussions in our digital oversight board about using champions to roll out Office 365 over the next couple of years, and this could include being part of a pilot use, so getting logins at an early stage. creating learning material, accessing existing learning material, delivering sessions, and just generally being the go-to person within their location or service. And as well as corporate initiatives, we're really keen for services, individual services, to identify how they can make best use of champions within their area. And we want to look at how we can get the message out to management teams in these areas, that we have all these digital champions that could be getting involved in any digital work or plans the service may have. So that's just a bit of a flavour of our champions journey in Dundee so far. So thanks for listening, and I'm going to hand you back to Siobhan at the Digital Office.
Thanks very much, Niall and Sue, and also Fiona earlier on. I'm sure you'll both, or all three of you will be glad that that's over. So yeah, we'll move on to the question and answer session just now. We've already got a couple of questions in, but I'll give you a few minutes to use the chat box function if you have any questions that you want answered from either of our presenters. And if you use the chat box function for that. Meanwhile, while we're waiting on more people asking questions, just a bit of background on this webinar series. So this was launched at the tail end of 2018 by the Digital Partnership Digital Skills community. And the aim of this webinar series is to create a box set of resources to look at how we are developing staff and citizens in this digital age. So each episode includes guest presenters from different councils and organisations that are involved with the partnership. And we aim to discuss topics like skills analysis, digital champions and transformers like we've seen today, that may be named something different in other councils as well. Future roles and what they'll look like in local authorities in the future. And that's quite a popular topic that comes up at our meetups regularly. Also culture shift and modern learning. So they are just a few of the topics that we are looking to explore at the moment. We are looking for further suggestions on what you would like to see. If we can identify a local authority that might be further ahead than other local authorities that can maybe give a bit of advice, a bit of guidance for you. So yeah, this webinar has been recorded and will be shared along with the slides. Recognise that there's a few links throughout the presentations there, and you'll be able to access them once we fire them out on our Knowledge Hub, and I'll drop everyone an email as well. So yeah, there's a few questions in just now, and I'll just read them out, and I'll prompt the guys to answer these. So Niall and Sue, I think this one could possibly be for you. Well, in fact, it is actually for you. So we're going to talk about the Barclays Digital Wings again. So what resources do you use in particular, and are they free? And also there was a mention about 23 things. Could you expand on that ever so slightly?
Yeah, so we've got Barclays Digital Wings was something that we've tried to get launched for quite a while, because we had to get a bit of approval before we could go into kind of partnership with Barclays as such. And all that means is having a landing page for Dundee City Council to go and access all the Barclays learning resources, which we kind of looked at them and thought they were quite good resources. We got our champions to have a look at them, and yeah, we thought the guys thought they were quite valuable resources as well, and a lot of topics from very basic digital topics through to things like ethical hacking and coding, if you want to go that way. And then there was also kind of a gamification side of it, where you have a kind of leaderboard. So in your council, if you get more than 25 people registered kind of through your landing page, so they know you're kind of on your company code, which is like the Dundee City Council company code, you could then start to get a leaderboard of people, and you might get you could potentially have things on your internet and that, and posting about that. But you can also access it via smartphones anywhere, at home as well. And yes, we had a launch during the Digital Skills Week, tried to promote that more. I would say, it's not been accessed as much as we'd hope just now, but I think around that has a lot to do with our communication, and with the My Learning Hub that Sue spoke about earlier, we're hoping to really push that. So we're going to have our own, digital page. It's going to be externally available, so staff without access are going to be getting onto the internet, and they'll be able to access, we'll be able to signpost them again to our digital page, and hopefully maybe signpost people to certain resources in digital wings. And we're also looking to kind of work with IT colleagues if they're putting something out, maybe around about phishing or IT, any cyber security, anything like that, kind of messages that sometimes go out. We would hope to, you can maybe actually signpost staff to a learning resource there as well. And yeah, the 23 things, I'll maybe let Sue say a little bit about that.
A little bit that from a personal point of view. I mean, I had signed up to that through Edinburgh University. They run it, and anybody can access it. It's run as a MOOC through Edinburgh University, and I thought that the materials were excellent. And I know that Digital Office have had George Barton from SSSC speaking about it, because they also host it. And so people can access it through there. And I think you can kind of customise it as well to your own organisation, but we haven't gone down that route as yet. It's just one of the ones that we think we will signpost people to in the future. Is that okay?
That's great. I think maybe could you slightly expand on the 23 things and exactly what that is? Just maybe a wee bit more. Including this is where I have to confess that I haven't done all the 23 things, Siobhan. But it looks at things like, what is your digital footprint, for example, and it gives you a number of exercises to work through for each 23 thing. Neil's just getting it up on the screen so we can remind ourselves what the 23 things are. So yeah, and it also, as you go through the 23 things, the first thing you're asked to do is to set up a blog. So as you work through and do each thing, you blog about it. So you look at digital footprint, social media, digital security, the cloud and what that involves, use of Twitter and so on. So there's a whole load of things. I mean, it's easy enough if anybody wants to just look it up. You'll come across it. See, I did it through Edinburgh University, but SSSC is all sitting there for people to go in and access. These are all open access resources. And I think the blogging side of it's quite fun as well, just to kind of for yourself a bit of reflective learning about how you're getting on with the resources. And the other sort of interesting aspect for 23 things is that it allows you to gain open badges. So you can register for those, and that actually gives you a kind of a certification, if you like. A digital certification for the work that you're undertaking, that you can then put on your Mozilla backpack, I believe. So, so it's all there if anybody wants to just look it up. I mean, I found it very accessible and interesting, and also say with the Edinburgh one, I got good feedback from the organisers as well. So that's something we would certainly recommend. That's fab. We'll move on to the next one. Fiona, I think this one will be for you. So that's probably one of the most popular questions that you get asked. But where are our transformers paid for their role? Was time assigned within their current role, or was this an application based on a volunteer basis?
Yeah, it is a. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
Yep.
As a voluntary role, we did have a couple of people get in touch initially, and when there was the chat of pay, and you kind of get told, well, actually, it is voluntary. They kind of weren't interested any longer. So it's not paid for support. And what we've said, maybe I should have said this in the bit that I'm speaking about. We have said that it'll be maybe a couple of hours a week initially, maybe just in terms of support and work. And we are looking for people to give a minimum of 6 months to the programme, just to help build some familiarity within their service area, and people know who to go to, rather than kind of it chopping and changing. So So that's been that's in place. What was the other part of the question?
Just time commitment.
Yeah, time commitment. So that's what we're saying. Initially, the ad that went out, we're saying 2 hours a week, and obviously, you know, it might change. It might change more in terms of when their service area is going through more transformation. They may be more involved in it. But that is what we're saying, and where we are asking people obviously to be keeping the line managers you know, aware in terms of the commitment. Everybody signed up for that. They have all been given approval, and any work that's going on, people will know in advance what's expected of them, so they can hopefully then kind of manage their own daily duties and work round about that, so that we're not putting them under extra pressure.
I think the next question you'd maybe as well, would you say that the staff, I know you're pretty new to the role, but would you say that staff have responded better to the digital transformers programme as opposed to like formal training?
Well, to be honest with you, Siobhan, it's quite difficult because we've just literally done it. You know, we're very, very much at the beginning of all of this. So, for example, our digital transformers haven't started actually doing any training or actually been out, you know, trying to kind of upskill our teams. That's all still to happen. But I mean, certainly from the response that we've had from people that have been coming forward from all different service areas, it has been really encouraging. And I think hopefully from having that kind of peer-to-peer support, that's maybe not as daunting for people to actually go in or go and say to somebody that, you know, in their bit of the business, listen, I'm struggling with that, I don't understand what's going on, I need a little bit of help, what can you suggest to do? Is maybe easier for them to be able to say that than maybe go to a manager or maybe kind of, you know, try and kind of open up that way. So hopefully that again is what we're going to try and build.
That's fab. And from the beginning, how many people have you have applied for the digital transformers role to date?
So we've got 35 just now in terms of people who have signed up. Nobody's dropped off yet, which is also really encouraging. And we had maybe about 50. And there's still people that are coming forward, but to be honest with you, with it just being myself here just now, I need to also kind of look at how we can manage that amount of people. So I think kind of 30, 35 at the moment is probably enough for us, and also for the fact that we do have transformers across all of our service areas. We're not struggling with any gaps at the moment, so we're going to run with what we've got just now. As I say, we're just at the very beginning, and then kind of see how it goes and see how it shapes as we go through the next few months.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing there to mention, is that it's across all services. So that gap there is it's great to be filled, and there's nothing there's no services that are left unturned almost.
Yeah, and again, you know, things like from an education side of the council, we kind of do struggle in terms of sometimes education can kind of think it's not part of the council when it is. And we've actually got 3 or 4 teachers that are part of our network, which, you know, again, we're really pleased with. Our teachers are on a different emailing system. They're on First Class, whereas we're all on Outlook. So again, it's slightly trickier to share information with them, but because we've got these people in post, they're actually helping us get information out across their own networks, which we would potentially have struggled with a bit.
Thanks very much, Fiona. I'm going to ask the same question here to Dundee. You are obviously quite far along or further along than North Lan in your journey. How many people have you got for your digital champions across the board at the moment?
We've got 62 at the moment. And I think, as I mentioned in the presentation, we've doubled our numbers really as a result of doing the survey in September. So for the first year we ran with just over 30, and we're now up to 62. But some of those people haven't actually met yet, so we're going to meet some of them at our first digital gathering of the new year next week, actually.
That's great, thanks. And in terms of, there's another question here about getting frontline staff to attend that don't necessarily have access to computers, and you mentioned that in your presentation about taking out tablets and iPads, etc., to those frontline staff. So, like, how well did they engage with the fact that there was effort there to include them in this process and in this project, if you like?
Yeah, I think we've been really encouraged by the feedback from them, because we've spoke to managers, I suppose, in that area beforehand, and they were maybe a bit more sceptical about us, going out to them, and because we are, we've, from other work we've done in learning development, we've came across like the members of staff doing e-learning and other parts, and they've said to us, it'd be great to access that. Oh, what's that on the internet? What's that? Because they'll see things that they don't really see day to day. So we did kind of think, generally, they would welcome that. And also things like having smartphones, some people things like that. But when generally we've turned up to sessions, they have, they've taken out the smartphones and just been ready to go with that, just for accessing their pay slips and things like that. And then when we went out with the tablets to the depots, again, there is a slight resistance at a certain time, certain people, but it's very, very minimal. The majority of them are really keen just to come and try it and do things, and we've recruited some, there's one chap in particular who works in waste management, and he creates websites in his spare time. He's really into gaming and things, and we've got his name kind of putting forward as like kind of one of our corporate champions, but also maybe get heavily involved in helping other things, potentially like smart routes and the bin lorries and that's kind of getting implemented in Dundee just now. And we've kept his name as someone who might be somebody that could really help to to maybe transfer skills that they need in that service. So yeah, from my point of view, it's been really, really well received.
Thanks very much for that. Fiona, this one will be for you. Who delivered training to your transformers? For example, have your IT department been involved, or is there a mixture? Have you got any external organisation involved in this?
Okay, so as I say, we've really just got our kind of network together. So we haven't, the first bit of formal training that we're going to give our staff will be next Thursday, and I think I mentioned that when I was giving a bit of my chat. So we've done the recruitment, we've got all of our transformers together, we've held our kind of larger welcome event to bring everyone together, talk about the role, about the programme, how they're all going to be involved in that. And then what we've done is organise this event for next week, which is going to be delivered by a guy called Liam, and Liam actually works for us. He's part of our Transformer network and he's part of our TOD team. And he does deliver this type of training as part of his role, so he's really familiar with it, and he's going to be coming in and actually doing that little bit of work for us next Thursday. And as I say, that's really about trying to give our transformers a bit of the techniques, a bit of the kind of coaching styles that they can start to think about, start to use when they are out speaking to people and they are out trying to tell people about learning new skills and how they go about it. They're not going to come out of the session completely trainers, but hopefully they will come out with a better sense of what they can, what they can do and what they can be looking for. From a kind of formal training perspective, we're going to be working with our L&D team to be saying, right, okay, what can we offer internally? We don't want to be spending money that we don't need to when we can do, when we have the resources here to deliver and to upskill our staff. We'll look at that avenue first before we would think about, right, okay, what do we need to look at externally?
Thanks, and I think, as you said there, you're going to get learning and development involved in this process. Someone was asking if it was led by the L&D team, but I don't know if you want to just expand on what the North Lanarkshire programme actually looks like.
Yeah, it's not going to be the digital transformers are going to be an extension to our team, which is obviously the DigitalNL team. So that is, we're going to be part of kind of one group, if you like. So they are going to be the ones that are reporting into us. We're going to be the ones that are going to be saying, right, okay, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z, and that type of thing. But certainly from an L&D and engagement perspective, our training team will very much be involved in what that looks like too. So as I've said, for example, at the moment, we've just been through the skills survey. We're in the kind of analysis stage, as you know, in terms of what the results are saying from the findings that are coming out. We'll then be looking at with our training team to say, right, okay, what do we need to address? What do we need to address the issues that are coming out? People that can or they don't have the confidence or the skills to do X, Y, and Z. How can we make that better? And along with having our transformers involved in that kind of development side of things, L&D will be too, so that we can be saying, right, okay, over the course of the next, say, 3, 4, 5 months, we're going to run X amount of workshops, and they're going to be delivered in tandem with our transformers and with the L&D team.
Amazing, thanks Fiona. The next one here for Dundee, one of our attendees is saying we have a digital team. Does Dundee have a digital team, and if so, how do your champions interact with them to ensure there's a consistent message and identification of challenges that champions can potentially assist with?
We don't have a digital team as such. So, I mean, there's a number of people in digital roles across the council, but we don't have a named digital team or a named digital leader as such. We have our digital oversight board, so that's kind of the main place that decision making happens and that reporting into. So our digital champions come under one strand of our strategy. So the various other strands of the strategy all have subgroups that report back to our digital oversight board. So we're reporting on the work of the champions there. So the chair of the oversight board, who's one of our executive directors, Greg Colgan, in fact, he's coming out to our champions gathering next week, and he wants to talk to them more about the vision for the way forward, the whole transformation programme, and how the champions will be contributing to that vision. And so that'll give them a chance to hear him, but also him a chance to meet them, and get a sense of where they're at. And we've also got, coming to our gathering next week, we've also got Steve Bell, who is our head of communications. He also sits on the digital oversight board, and he's coming out to ask for the champions' assistance with the embedding of our new social media policy. So that's just about to be published. And so he wants their help to make sure that the message is getting out to all parts of the services. So that's kind of how we work at the moment. So we don't have a digital team as such. I mean, there's Niall and I who are part of learning and organisational development, but we both have, this is on top of other things that we have lots of responsibility for within our own service. So yeah, so we don't have a dedicated resource as such, but I hope that helps explain a bit about how we operate.
Busy pair. So in terms, when you were mentioning there about sort of senior management, have you managed to get any of the senior management on board to be champions? So I suppose more from a motivational point of view, and the attendee as well is asking just for them to lead and motivate to ensure that no one is detached or isolated within the workforce. So I suppose it's like from the top down. Have you managed to get anyone from further up the organisational tree?
Not actually as named champions. I mean, our champions are at different levels within the organisation. So we do have people at all sorts of different grades who are nominated champions, and some of those are quite senior managers, but we don't have anybody, for example, from the council management team at the moment as a named champion. But as I say, they are closely linking in with us through the digital oversight board. So that's how it works for us. So they're leading the way through the digital oversight board, providing the vision, if you like, and then we're contributing to that.
And any elected members?
No elected members so far. I mean, I have noticed that in some other local authorities. I've got digital champions elected members, but it's not something that we've kind of even attacked or thought about looking into. No. So that's something that maybe we just think about.
Maybe something for us to think about.
I'm doing a bit of work with elected members around electronic papers, etc. So, and that's just kind of a way to kick off in Dundee. Some local authorities have done that as well. So in the back of my mind when I'm doing this, and I might be doing a bit of hands-on training, etc. So it's definitely something that will, because we would potentially look for a champion and elected members that could then help their colleagues, use their iPad and whatnot to access their minutes in the meeting, on a Monday night or whatever, I'll certainly not be there to help. So maybe they can help each other and that kind of. So that's certainly something we'd be thinking about.
Great, thank you. The next question is around sort of the balance that both councils have in terms of resources required and available. So, for example, grouped and classroom delivery versus like individual one-to-one training on individual devices. Fiona, could you expand on that?
In terms of, say that again, first.
Have you got any for balance in terms of resources? Have you got plans for that and how that's going to be delivered? Will that be based solely on one-to-one training and individual training, or is there plans in your project to do classroom delivery and group delivery?
Yeah, I think that is, we need to kind of be looking at the resources, and I think it'll probably be a bit of a mixture in terms of when we really know, okay, from the different service areas, the skills that we're identifying in terms of gaps at X, Y, and Z, how do we go about that? And again, how do people want to learn? Depending on how comfortable and how confident they feel at coming in forward and saying either they can't do something or they want to learn to do something. Obviously, ideally, from a kind of resource perspective, it's better to have that kind of classroom session when you're covering off more people at the same time, but there probably will need to be a wee bit of a mixture. However, with the training as well, we'll be looking at things like producing maybe kind of guidelines, that type of thing, so you might not have been to the particular training session in person, but either you could maybe learn from your colleague, or you could go online and you could maybe get a bit of a kind of really easy how-to guide if you wanted to have a look at it. Or there could be things like little kind of video blogs, whatever they're called, where one of the trainers could, talk you through a particular thing and you could take notes, and it would be that kind of step-by-step guide, a bit like a YouTube video that they could access at their, at their own, day or night, whenever it suits them.
Thanks. And being further down the journey in Dundee, what has the balance been like up there?
Yeah, it's a real blend, as we said in the presentation, a bit of blended learning, a lot of face-to-face, and also, the signposting people to online resources. But I mean, now we are finding quite a bit of resistance to get staff released for certain things, and even things like mandatory e-learning for staff who've got to complete that. It seemed to be harder and harder for staff to come to see our e-lab as such, what we've got in our base, where we used to get staff here a lot more. I think that's harder and harder now. But moving forward, as I said, our internet is going externally available, so we'll be, encouraging all staff to access that, and signpost to a lot of online resources. But we do understand that doesn't suit everybody. We are looking to potentially video, some of our sessions with Chris Wright in Perth. Some of you might be aware of that. He's done, videoing their sessions, putting them on their YouTube channel, and would be really, really keen to try that. We might have some issues with kind of more with our infrastructure in Dundee and our network and things like that, so it's a bit more of a challenge, but we're kind of working with IT colleagues to try and sort that. And with potential of Office 365 coming very shortly to Dundee, accessing things like the Microsoft training packages available, and also what our education colleagues, like Sue said before, we've got champions in education who have got access to a lot of online resources, who can share stuff with us to help with the kind of corporate side of 365. But yeah, it's really a blended learning. But again, I think we'll be, I'm assuming that will change potentially. A lot more online learning. But we do have to always understand that it doesn't suit everybody, and that people do like to have sometimes that face-to-face. And we're able to, because we've got our champions now, we are able to do that. We don't have a dedicated IT training team. And everything we do is done by champions pretty much, and that's the way it will be just now. So yeah, that's
great. That's great. Fiona, there's one particularly around your presentation here. So the SVQNIT and Digital Diploma that you mentioned earlier, that's fully funded by SDS. Is this something that other local authority digital champions could get access to as well?
It was Polly McCafferty, and I think Polly might be on the call. She can maybe speak a bit more about the SVQ, because it's certainly her bit of the business that's been setting it up. So yeah, so we have been given the opportunity for staff to undertake this SVQNIT and Digital Diploma, and we are offering the opportunity initially out to our digital transformers in the first instance. Again, a wee bit of a sweetener for for being part of the team, and kind of underlying one of the benefits of being part of this DigitalNL, that they will get these opportunities before anyone else. So there's 4 different courses just now that are available. So it's around about digital marketing. There's one that's about kind of web development, software development, that type of thing. So there could be potential different areas of interest that you're looking to maybe develop in, and that's going to be something that you can take advantage of. If Pauline, if you want to unmute Pauline, if she is on the call, she'll be able to give more information in terms of how you go about maybe looking for funding. But it was definitely funded by the Skills Development Scotland. So I'm sure if you went online or went on their website or got in touch, they'd be able to give you some more information.
Thanks, Fiona. What I'll do is share that information along with the further information email that we send out later.
Right. Okay, well, it's definitely Skills Development Scotland, and it's the SVQ in IT and Digital Diploma. Great,
thank you. Last couple of questions here to wrap up on time. I know that Fiona's very early in the journey at the moment, but Dundee, could you tell us if you've got any plans at the minute or in the near future to get the community involved for the Digital Champion programme, and I suppose upskilling citizens in Dundee?
It's something that we've started to think about. Our colleagues who work within community learning and development already do a lot of work in this area, and we've got a particular project called IT for Work that's been running for quite a long time, offering learning sessions in the community in various locations. So we do link in with them, and we'll link in with them in the future. We've also in our heads, we're planning to look at how we can do something through our community libraries using volunteers, and there is already a volunteer project that does that. We've yet to link up with them. It's kind of one of these things that we've kind of said that's one of the jobs to do early this year, is to link up with the volunteers who already go out to the libraries and kind of look at getting them involved with our network sort of more officially, and perhaps looking at SCVO training for digital champions for them. So I say it's on our radar, because I guess in terms of transformation, it's as much about equipping citizens with the IT skills to access our services as it is for the staff to have the services to provide them. So it's something that we've been thinking about. We've got the connections, but it's just about putting together the piece of the jigsaw for us at the moment.
Great.
Is that okay?
Yeah, and I think you could possibly answer the next question as well. It's 2 questions put together, really. The Digital Champions programme, is that really linked in with staff like career progression and sort of getting those skills on their CV? And how do you measure the impact of the training and the upskilling of your staff?
These are great questions, and I think these are, one of the things about doing these kind of things like today is that it provides a lot of food for thought for us as well. And I think, there are still areas like that we could improve on. I think, we haven't done that in any formalised way. Obviously, champions can put the work that they're doing on their CVs and so on, but we haven't kind of formalised that, for example, through our annual review process or anything like that at this stage. But as I say, it's actually great having this opportunity, because when you get thoughts from other people across the country, it's making us think about things that we might want to then progress in the future. So it's helpful.
And if we're, the essential skill survey that we just done, and that's something we potentially hope to do, year in year. And like we said, we had a 66%, was the figure that came out of staff. So I suppose you know, if we're doing a lot of work with champions as part of upskilling staff, if that figure then, when we do it again, rises and rises again, you know, that could be something we'd benchmark. But we'll have spoken about that even within Digital Oversight Board, around about kind of almost the KPIs as such around digital skills and how we could measure it, you know, and that, like Sue says, it's something that we need to think about. We haven't formalised it, you know. A lot of the things we've always have a lot of great ideas, you know, but formalising of things is, yeah, it's definitely something that takes a bit longer, yeah. So, but that's maybe one aspect is using the survey potentially every year. We were thinking about maybe biannually, but as one sort of indicator. But we'll see. It's food for thought for us.
Definitely, and I think it's worth mentioning here as well that us at the Digital Office are working on behalf of the Digital Partnership alongside the SSSC and the SCBO. So the SSSC, we're doing open badges and sharing that across local government, so that can be something that can be included for career progression and training and stuff for staff across our 31 local authorities. And also training from the SCBO for digital champions. So that'll be in the near future, hopefully. So yeah, conscious of time here, we've just got sort of one last question for each of you. So in terms of the workforce, Fiona, what is the overall vision of the programme or North Lanarkshire Council as a whole, and the purpose of the programme being established?
Well, the purpose of the programmes, obviously, it's the new way of working. So, you know, it's a digital vision. It's the change in landscape. It's, you know, it's delivering services in a way that people now want to access it. From a workforce perspective, initially, just now, what we're doing is obviously raising awareness and sharing what DigitalNL actually means, what it is, and trying to obviously build the engagement in the programme, enthusiasm for it, and letting people know where they can go to for information, for access. And kind of really sharing that kind of ongoing vision of what DigitalNL actually means. For our workforce, it will mean changes, definitely. It will mean changes to the way that we do things, the way we operate, the way their jobs are. The role they potentially have right now might not be the role that's going to be there in the future. Hence the reason why there will be this need to learn new skills to do things differently, and why we need to provide the support to help people to be able to do that. So it's going to be a huge curve of change over the next, say, 4 to 5 years. And what we don't want to do is people just resist, and that's not what we want. We want to take people with us so that we don't come up against any major conflicts, any major barriers, that people know why we're doing it, the vision for it, the vision for the future, why digital is, you know, important for the way we run our services, efficiency, for how we basically run our lives. And how they can gain the skills and the opportunities to develop themselves, and hopefully, you know, develop the job opportunities that are going to be available for them, whether it's in the council or whether it's anywhere else.
Great, thanks, Fiona. Dundee, I suppose, could you answer the same question? So originally, what is the vision for Dundee City Council? And to wrap this session up, what are the challenges that you've came across, the main 3 challenges you've came across to date, and sort of why you would recommend this programme of work to other local authorities that might be on listening today?
Cool, that's a bit of it's a big question to finish with, isn't it? I mean, the vision in Dundee is that we will be a digital council by 2020. So digital champions was a key strand of the original strategy that was drawn up, and that's our strategy is available online for people to have a look at. And you know, as we've said, it's about skilling up the staff for the future. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about quite a lot is that it's in the future, hopefully we won't be talking about essential digital skills for the workforce. We'll just be talking about essential skills, you know, because the whole digital thing going forward, you know, we talk digital this, digital that, but it's just going to be workforce skills going forward. It'll be part of the sort of range of skills that are absolutely essential for all staff. It's not going to be a specialist add-on. So I guess that's you know, a key part of our vision, really. Neil, you want to say something?
The challenges, I think one of the biggest challenges for us has been, like we've talked about, the work with the kind of environment staff, home care staff, and that's a big thing. It's just engaging with the workforce that I've never had kind of access. You know, it's been something when my job kind of, and I was with IT and learning development. It's always been something like how we engage with the workforce that don't have access to things. You know, and even, you know, we've had the problem with e-learning in the past. You know, now I'm doing all this. It's now that we've got an opportunity to really engage this workforce and you know and upskill, you know, and possibly look at their kind of succession planning. You know, we spoke about that before about, you know, we've got members of the staff there who might do some things working with us as a champion, and it might give them a bit of career progression, possibly, you know. But yeah, the challenge is definitely with just engaging that workforce. For me, certainly. Yes. I think that's probably us. Yeah, we could probably answer that question a bit better if we had 5 minutes.
No, that's great. Thank you very much. I think we can see from the amount of questions how valuable today's webinar really has been, and I'm sure we could probably sit here all day and talk about the champions and transformers. As I mentioned earlier on, this is an episode of the box set that we're working on at the moment. So we will have another webinar coming shortly, which we'll make sure that you're aware of. Today's webinar again has been recorded, so we will publish this on our YouTube channel, and we would really encourage you to be sharing that with your colleagues and senior colleagues to really showcase exactly the route that a lot of councils are going down and how it's really benefiting local authorities across Scotland. So I would just like to finish off with thanking Fiona, Neil and Sue, and also everyone for attending today. If you've got any further questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Our email address is info@digitaloffice.scot. Whether it's for us at the Digital Office or Dundee or North Lanarkshire, would be happy to help. Would encourage you to have a wee look at our website as well and see the wide range of projects that we have ongoing to collaboratively work across Scotland's local authorities to achieve these outcomes quicker and more sustainable. So yeah, thanks very much for everyone attending, and we hope to see you on the next webinar.